Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're continuing our series on spellcasting in the Player's Handbook, talking about the Druid. Druids are the full casters of nature, and their magic is quite unique amongst full casters, with lots of spells that most people don't even get to see. These spells here, we're talking about level 4 spells. This means your druid is 7th level and gets to choose here in the early parts of the mid-game. And level 4 is a fun spell level. There's a lot of interesting ones to talk about, and one that kind of stands above the rest as the obvious pick. But despite that, I've still made a top 5 list. I've got a pair of combat-focused spells and a pair of utility-focused spells, as well as an honorable mention. Before we get into the details, though, I'd like to let you know, Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get a couple benefits. You get a badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know you're a supporter. You get early access to my videos a day earlier than everyone else. And you get VIP access in my community Discord, where I'm talking about some of the upcoming projects that I've got coming up down the line. If any of that sounds interesting to you, you can click the join button just down there next to the subscribe button. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. The Discord's free for anyone to join, come in the general chat rooms and chat about D&D. And honestly, just being here, watching the video, liking and subscribing to the channel, these are all wonderful ways to support me. So thank you for watching my content here on YouTube. So starting off with the number 2 combat spell. My second recommendation for combat is the spell Fire Shield. This is actually one of those unique ones that optimizers love to build around. Firstly, it takes an action to cast, and it lasts for 10 minutes, no concentration necessary, which is awesome. It means it stacks with other concentration effects. Next, you can choose whether it gives you resistance to fire damage or cold damage. It's your choice whether the shield becomes a chilling shield or a warming shield. Finally, if a creature attacks you with a melee attack within 5 feet of you, the shield will bite back at them, doing an extra 2d8 of damage of fire damage if it's the warm shield, or cold damage if it's the chill shield. This is a spell that does so many things, and doesn't even ask for your concentration. It can be used outside of combat to give you resistance to damage, but in general you want it for that thorns damage, that bite back that happens when enemies come up and hit you. It's really, really handy, and I gotta give it the number 2 spot on my combat choices. As far as my number 2 on the utility list, on the other hand, that one is also a spell that, doesn't ask for your concentration. It's called Freedom of Movement. This one is a classic, and it does quite a few things as well. It gives you a swimming speed, which is nice. It makes it so that magic cannot reduce your speed, and magical restraints cannot grapple or restrain you. And then it also says that non-magical restraints, like manacles or even a creature grappling you, you can escape them with just 5 feet of your move speed. It effectively does exactly what it says on the tin. It makes it so that your movement cannot be restricted. You are free to move in basically any way you want that isn't just straight up flight. It is a very, very handy spell, and one of those things that if you need to go underwater, or if you need to go in a place that you know that enemies grapple a lot, watch out for like tentacles and things like that, this is going to come in handy all of the time. And if nothing else, not having your speed reduced, maybe if you're fighting like frost enemies that like to slow you down with ice, not anymore. I think this is a great spell, and it is going to sit in the number 2 spot for utility. Even though it is useful in combat, it's also very useful out of combat. Before we get on to the number 1s, I'll throw my honorable mention in here, the combat spell Wall of Fire. The wall spells in general are so nice, splitting up the battlefield and giving you the ability to control it, and this is no different. You can create a 60-foot long wall of flames, or a 20-foot ring, a 20-foot diameter ring of fire. This causes creatures to take fire damage if they're in the flames when they appear, and then you designate one side of the wall, which if creatures are within 10 feet of it, they take the fire damage with no saving throw involved. So it's a great way to keep creatures at bay. Now, of course, you can run up and run through the wall if you don't care about the damage. It doesn't prohibit you from moving through it, but it's a good amount of damage, 5d8, both when it appears and when creatures approach it. So at the very least, with some good tactical decisions, you could be doing 10d8 damage, which is 45 fire damage. And that's just on the 2 turns that creatures have to try to run through it. If any of them are hesitant to do so, or that would just straight up kill them, then you have successfully managed to keep them on one side of the wall, and that's fantastic. So I'm going to give that the honorable mention here. Now, for our number 1 utility spell, that one's going to go to control water. Anyone who's a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender or, other elemental-based movies and shows knows how powerful water is. And control water is all of that and then some. You get to move water in masses of 20-foot cubes that you can push around as freely as you like, raising the levels, drowning people. You can also use it to push things. You can cause water to part, a la Moses, so you can just walk through a body of water. And of course you can cause whirlpools and cause water to flow in weird directions and trap creatures in water, forcing them to make strength saves or be sucked in and take bludgeoning damage. It's so varied, and because it's such a powerful spell, it actually lasts. It's a powerful spell because it lasts for quite a bit, I think 10 minutes, and you can just push water around to your heart's content. It's genuinely one of the best utility spells out there. Water is so powerful when you use it correctly, and this is no exception. So this gets the number 1 slot on my list. Now, the final spell on here, this is, without any sort of question, the number 1 spell of 4th level. Not just for druids, but for all casters. And I don't think that it is a hot take to say that it is one of the best spells in all of D&D, despite the fact that it got nerfed in the 2024 rules. It did not get a big enough nerf to really matter. And of course the spell I'm talking about is Polymorph. Polymorph is so good. First of all, the way it works is that you cast it on a creature, you concentrate on it. If it's an ally, they can willingly fail the save. If it's an enemy, they get a wisdom save to resist. If they fail the save, whether willingly or otherwise, you transform them into a beast. The beast has a CR, or challenge rating, of the creature's level or lower. What this means is that if it's an enemy, you can transform them into a small creature like a rat or a goldfish or something, pop them in a bottle, and all of a sudden they're no longer a threat to you. In addition, you can cast this on an ally and turn them into a massive monster. At the level you get Polymorph, you are level 7. There are only a few beasts that are more powerful than that. There's 3 or 4 that are CR 8, meaning that you can transform into everything from direwolves, polar bears, giant scorpions, flying dinosaurs, or even giant apes. And once you reach level 8, you can transform into the almighty Tyrannosaurus Rex. Doing so makes you a monster in combat, giving you all the beast stats and abilities. Now, you can't speak, you can't cast spells, your gear melds into you and you can't benefit from it, but you do get a bunch of temporary hit points equal to what the beast would have. This is similar to how it used to work. It used to be that you just got the beast's hit points and could heal them back up, but now it's specifically temp HP. This means that if you lose the temp HP for any reason, the spell effect ends. Otherwise, it lasts for an hour with the caster's concentration. One of the classic things to do is to start combining things, such as take the wizard casting something like Fly, or the cleric casting something like Spirit Guardians, and then you cast Polymorph on them, and now they are a flying Spirit Guardian T-Rex. It's absolutely metal as hell, and one of the best things out there. And it is often used for its combat purposes. I put it as the #1 pick for combat. But don't forget, it has its utility purposes too. Changing into a flying creature so that you can fly above a battlefield or scout. Changing into an innocuous creature like a rat or a spider or a goldfish, so that you can go into places while remaining undetected, because who's going to suspect the small animal? With an hour's duration, there's so much you can do with this. You can even use it to get swimming speeds and water breathing, climbing speeds, like I mentioned, flying speeds. There are so many uses that it is really as varied as your imagination. If you can think of an animal and something that it can do, it's likely that Polymorph will give you the power to do that. And yeah, it is the #1 spell. It even works as a pseudo heal, because if a creature's low on hit points and you transform them into a giant ape with 100 and some hit points, I forget exactly how many, that's temp HP, sure, but now they're not going to go unconscious for a while. It is solidly strong in all tiers of play. Even as you get into the higher tiers, when a giant ape or a T-Rex might not do the most amount of damage compared to your characters, it's still over 100 hit points that you're just dumping into a person, keeping them safe for the time being. Even an ancient dragon isn't going to take down a polymorphed T-Rex in one shot. So, well, it might. But either way, the point is that this is the #1 combat spell. It is also the #1 utility spell, but I wasn't going to give it both of those. That's why I gave Control Water utility. Yeah, Polymorph's amazing. And that's it. If you are a level 7 Druid, take Polymorph. You should also take something like Control Water, Fire Shield, Freedom of Movement, or Wall of Fire if you want to control the battlefield, have some good utility or defenses. It's all here, but take Polymorph. Polymorph is one of the only spells that when a person reaches the appropriate level for it, I tell them, you should take this spell. I don't just recommend it, I'm saying, you should take this spell. It is inarguably one of the strongest spells in the game, and inarguably the strongest spell of its level. So yeah, I hope that helps. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and keep your eyes peeled for more spellcasting reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.